All right, let's get into it. My name is Caleb Clark. I'm the co-founder and president of Hook and Ladder Digital. We are a social media and conversion funnel agency. And we are today going to dig into a very interesting topic and a very important and oftentimes overlooked marketing discipline, and that's copywriting. Ultimately, words have this unbelievable ability to sway people, to resonate them, to make them believers of certain movements or products or services, and it's an extremely difficult tactic and discipline to be good at. So we have three awesome panelists here today. I'll introduce them briefly, and then we have our content director of content at Hook and Ladder, Shalyn Grisey here, who is going to grill everyone with some questions. And if you have questions along the way, just shoot them into the chat, and we'll try to get to as many of them as we can at the end. So our first guest is Joel Klecke, and Joel and I go way, way, way back. We went to elementary school together, and have only recently reconnected. I saw him pop up in LinkedIn, and he's doing some amazing things with his business. He's the founder of Case Study Buddy, and has been a conversion copywriter for, it says 7 years and 5 months, but I think more than that. So everyone, welcome Joel. Thanks for coming here, man. We have Shannon Hulko, who is the creative director and founder of Hulko Creative. And I love working with Shannon and hearing her perspective on copy, because she sees it from the perspective of, where does it fit in the brand? Where does it fit on, in a website experience to move people subtly and sequentially to the actions that we're hoping that they take. So Shannon's going to provide a perspective from a creative and brand standpoint, and how copy fits into her world for her clients. And then we have Rebecca Smith, who is hilarious. She's very smart, she has an unbelievable talent with words. She's the founder of Word Plenty, and is she's currently the copywriter at Smart Technologies. So Rebecca and I go way back as well. Can't thank you guys enough for being on the panel today. And with that, I will pass it off to Shalyn.
Thanks, Caleb. Thank you guys all for coming. It's so nice to meet you. We have such a huge turnout. The interest in this is really high. So let's start at the start. What are your essential steps when you're getting prepared to start writing for a project? Shannon, do you want to go first?
Sure, I can, yeah. So I always like to start with listening to your audience, and that can look a multitude of different ways. So it can be interviews with actual audience sets that you have. It can be interviews with audience sets that you want to have in the future. It can be surveys or even online searches with forums, like going where your audience lives and kind of mining that for data. The other thing I like to do is create a brand foundational set of language to help uncover your why, what, how, and your attributes, really setting up what you want your future reputation to be, and this foundational set of language that you can then create a tone of voice with, which are guides for speaking and writing, so internal teams are aligned and aligned to which audience sets we're speaking to as well.
Yeah, the two-way, like even copywriting, there's a listening component to it at the beginning. Rebecca, how do you prepare?
Yeah, huge listening component. Like ideally you want to know what problems your audience is facing. You want to know who the audience is. Sometimes that's different than what the client thinks it is. So lots of mining for voice of customer data, even looking at your competitors, looking at Amazon reviews. There's lots of like Reddit threads you can get lost in, but the more you can get that voice of customer, the better to use their actual language.
And do you find that you like to get right in and see where they are and how they're talking, rather than just like downloading a report or something about a segment?
It depends where the client's at. Like if they've done a lot of research that's recent and they have these really built out personas versus just kind of like templated, made up ones. It depends, and really understanding kind of where the audience is at in that awareness of, do they know they have a problem versus do they know your product exists? Like a lot of different levels there.
How about for you, Joel? How do you get ready to start writing?
Yeah, I mean, 90% of the job I feel like is the prep work. The actual writing piece is like the smallest part of what we do. So to kind of echo what's already been said to some degree, but like the most important thing to understand is, how do your buyers make decisions? What factors weigh in for them, and how do they talk about them? So what pain points do they have, but in their own words? For example, like let's say you sell a weight loss product and you might say, well, the pain point is people want to lose weight. Well, okay, but people want to lose weight for different reasons. Grandparents might want to lose weight so they can keep up with their grandkids, where bodybuilders might want to lose weight so they can be in competition for them. Those are two completely different motivations for the same product. So what it really comes down to is understanding how your audience talks about their pain points, their anxieties, their priorities, their desired outcomes, the better life they imagine for themselves. But also then in practice, how do they weigh up information and actually make the decisions? So, I mean, the qualitative background is really important. But then another big part of where I'll invest time is looking at things like recorded user sessions or Google Analytics to understand, okay, based on what you're putting out there today, how do people navigate this information? How do we take this kind of out of the clouds of theory and qualitative data into the brass tacks of how do they navigate your site? Where do they go? Where do they start? What sections are they paying a lot of attention to? Looking at things like chat logs in context. So if you're looking at, say, a landing page and you've got chat on that page and you're pushing people there from an ad, what questions are they asking? That helps point to gaps in information that then you can turn around and close and be proactive about. So it's really about knowing the customer, not only how they think and how they buy, but how they actually act in the process of making that decision.
Yeah, and as far as how they think, that isn't always rational. Like it is so emotional, and I think we get caught up in, we're a service provider, we have this solution to their problem. But so much of that decision making is emotional. Like they're buying better versions of themselves. They're not buying technically what you're selling.
And how do you guys follow that down? Like even if they say, I want a new car, do you, like the real juicy stuff is deeper than that? Do you have a process for drilling down to what's really going to motivate?
Well, I think it goes back to the reasons of their motivations, reason why they're buying that car, right? So it's that classic, Jeep's one word is adventure. In their commercials, they show adventure in every step of the way. So why would someone buy, a Jeep versus a Volvo? Well, Volvo's safety. We all know Volvo is super safe. It's that value alignment that we're reflecting to the audience sets that helps them choose one fairly similar car to another.